Welcome, everyone. I am happy that you're here. So I wanted to share with you a very simple way to do integer input validation. So we're going to do one where we want to put in a minimum number so that if we have something where you're getting the length of something, the width of something, say like a radius of a circle, that you have to put in a positive number. Also, you may want to have something that has a minimum and a maximum, and they're going to work basically the exact same way. So what we'll do is we'll write these simple functions, then we'll come back with a part 2 of the video, show you how you can actually enhance them. So notice that I have not included using namespace standard. So we're going to have an error when we get and do a simple cout, enter an integer. And the reason being is the compiler does not know where standard comes from. It actually comes from std. So we could do std cout and everything's fine. However, that's kind of a pain to do in every single cin, cout, endline, and a whole bunch of other things. So let's go and do, instead of using namespace standard, now there's a lot of controversy over whether or not you should use it. However, when you're only doing a few couts and cin and endout and maybe set width or io manip or whatever it is that you would use in those functions for formatting, then you might want to just do simple declarations. So let's just do our using, and we'll do std cin. Then we'll do the same thing using std cout and using std endline. So we can use all of those. So what I want to do is write a function. I am a big fan of functions. I don't think anything really should be calculated in main. It should be nothing more than you do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and thanks, have a nice day, we're done. So let's write a function prototype, and we're going to return an integer, and we'll just call it getInteger. But we want to have a little twist on this. We're going to put in a minimum. So we want to have an integer as the minimum. So we can pass to that function the lowest value that it will accept. So let's create our function here. And we'll just put in we'll just call it lowest. I would refrain from using min because there is something already defined as min, and minimum is too hard for me to spell. So I use lowest. You can use minimum if you want. And now we need an integer to get. And I'm a big fan of initializing everything. Whether you need to or not, it's better to initialize it. So now we're just going to do a simple do loop. And we're going to put in a condition, but we don't know what the condition is just yet. Well, the condition is lowest needs to be the minimum that gets input. So we can do something like this, while number is less than lowest. And then we're going to make it a little bit different. So let's go and do our cout, enter a number greater than or equal to, and we'll do lowest. Another option would be enter a number that's greater than and just put lowest minus 1 in there. So now what we do is we're going to get our enter our number from here. We'll get our number. And that's looking good so far. So right now we're going to run the program and nothing's going to happen because we don't do anything. So let's get rid of this and let's create a number. And we can call it number or whatever you want to call it. And let's go and do number equals get integer, and we'll pass it as 0. And then let's just do cout our number, and then we will return. So let's run this program and see if it actually works. So it says enter a number greater than or equal to 0. So we have one cosmetic issue here. So let's fix this. Notice how you have the cursor is right next to the 0. And I also want to emphasize the importance of not putting an end line on a prompt line. So let's go and delete this. And let's just put in a space here. And we'll run it again. And now it looks a little bit nicer. So let's put in 50. And that works. Oh, look at this. We got 0. How is that possible? And this is a very common mistake in here. We did not change this to return number. So I'm going to show you how I fixed this to make sure I don't enter a whole bunch of data and then it returns nothing. When I write a function that returns something, it's going to give you an automatic default return. So what I'll do is I will comment this out until I change it. So then I will try to compile the program, and it's going to give me an error. There's build errors. How come? Then it should say that you need to return a value, which does. So that's good. So now we can fix it by returning number. And now, had I not initialized number to 0 here, and we tried to print out number, it's possible that it gave us a very large number or a minus 8 billion. That anything is possible. So that's why it's always important to initialize everything. One of the reasons. So now we still have a little bit of an issue here. So let's go and run this again. And let's just type in, let's test it first with 50. And it does work. So that's good. So now let's go and test it with minus 50. And it just says enter a number greater than 0. We'll do minus 10. Let's do 1, and that works. Well, the issue is the user really doesn't know that they're entering something less than 0. So what I want to do here is let's create a little bit of pleasure for the user, and we'll just call this need data. And we're going to set that to true. So what we'll do here, instead of while number is less than lowest, I'm going to cut this. Let's just put need data. So now here's an issue, is if we do not create a condition for the need data to be true, then what will happen is, or false, what will happen is this will just constantly loop and loop and loop and loop. So what we want to do here is set our conditions. Need data equals, and let's put in parentheses to make it look nice. And then we'll do if need data cout invalid number must be greater than, and this particular thing, let's just go lowest minus 1. All right, so let's run this again, and this gives us a little bit of help for the user, and we'll go and run it again. And let's put in minus 1. And it says invalid number must be greater than minus 1. Okay, so that works. So, but that's not really all that great. So we might want to stick to greater than or equal to. So that's something that you might want to say in here. So let's put in minus 50, and still let's go, and this time let's just do 50, and it works. So this is cosmetic. You can decide whether you want to do it in here. So you can change this to must be at least this, whatever you want to put in here. So I'm going to change it to greater than or equal to. I did not like the way that came out. And we'll get rid of this. I'll leave the parentheses in there. So that makes it really, really, really easy. So now what we want to do is, what about, say, like a grading program where the lowest grade is, say, a 0 and the highest grade is 100? Well, that's pretty simple. What we'll do here is let's do it with integers as a constant. So first thing we're going to do is create our getInteger. And this time we're going to pass two integers. Now notice we are using the same name, getInteger, because we're going to overload the function. The compiler will know which one is which based upon the number of parameters that are passed. So let's go in here, and we can just copy the same code. Let's get rid of this return 0. And we just need to make a few changes. So we'll do lowest and highest. And this time we just need to change the prompt to enter a number between lowest and highest. And you might want to put inclusive. Enter a number between . And then we just need to change this. Need data equals number is less than lowest. And I'm going to put parentheses in here. But this time, or number is greater than highest. And invalid number must be between. So let's just go invalid number must be, and we'll copy this here. And we'll keep it up to the end L, so we don't have to type that. And let's run this again, and this time we'll do the same thing with number equals getInteger. And let's create two constants. And then highest. And so now we need something between 0 and 100. So we're just going to put in lowest, comma, highest. And it looks like I spelled something wrong, because I did. All right, so we're going good in here. So we're going to call, this should get this one right now. So let's run this one. Let's comment this out so we don't have to. And we'll move this down here. And we'll run it and see what happens. So it says enter a number between 0 and 100. What I always do is I like to test one below and one above. So let's do with -1. And it says invalid number must be between 0 and 100. So let's do 101. And that did not work either. So let's try 100. And that works. So that's all you have to do to get it. But you say, wait a minute. What happens if we don't want 0 and 100? Maybe we want something 25 and 50. So that's no problem. Let's just copy all this here. Or maybe we say we're giving extra credit on the test. Well, let's just change this to 105. Let's run it again. So now notice it's got enter 0 to 100 because we didn't change it. We did the lowest and the highest, but that's okay. We want to do 106. And then we'll do 105. And it's still not working. So let's go and... that's because we did it twice. Must be between 105. So let's go back and see what I did wrong in here. So we did it twice. Okay, there. This makes sense. I thought I had commented this out in here. So we're good. Let's go and run it again. And we'll do 100. And we have a little bit of cosmetic issue, so that's no big deal. So let's do 106. And then let's do -1. And then let's do 105. And we have a winner. So let me put my end line here. And let me put end line here. So a few things cosmetic-wise that are good programming. What you want to do here is put in the comments the purpose of get integer is to, and then you would write whatever it is, and then you would want to put some comments in here. What you're doing in here is always a good idea. What is the purpose of this variable? What is the purpose of this variable? And then the same thing with this one over here. Up top, you want to put your name of your program and your name, and then what the purpose of the program is. So that is it for this one. The next one, we're going to do a little bit more enhancing on how to make some better prompts, how to pass a user-defined prompt without having to do something, because maybe we want to get something that says enter the radius of a circle. Well, that's not going to help you anything if you're getting more than one thing using the same function, but you want different prompts. So we'll do that in the next video. Hopefully this one has helped you, and let me know how you feel. Subscribe to my channel, like it if you like it, leave comments, please, and let me know what you think. That's all I have. Have a wonderful day.